Welcome back to Empowered, and today's guest is Amika Kushwaha.
Thank you.
So, Amika, there's a story that you tell through this dance,
Yes.
and I think it would be, from my perspective, important for you to tell your story and connect to your audience.
That's right. Yeah.
How important is that, and how? What's the challenge behind that?
It's a very good question. Connecting with the audience is so important for any kind of entertainment value. The reason for it that I perform my dances to live music rather than pre-recorded music is so that I can attain the feedback from the audience and I can kind of tailor my performance for them. It's a service. You're trying to, for me, I'm trying to give them something to take home. So that is a small experience, something to remember. My story really is just to tell the story of how beautiful Kathak is. That's, if I can do that much, that's a pretty big job in itself.
Right, right.
I try to tell them how each movement can be interpreted in different ways, related to today's world, today's situations. The simplest thing, like we were talking earlier, two people meeting and becoming friends. So simple, right? Or, how does, for example, I was trying to explain a composition to a mechanic. And they're like, I don't understand what you're doing. I said, for example, when you start the car, your motor doesn't start, the rhythm of that, and then finally it starts. Just simple ideas. It's almost like concentrate on the simple things, and let's enjoy this moment where we are. That's the kind of the message that we carry.
What do you think, though, that your ancestors, or the early storytellers, what kinds of stories do you think that they would have wanted to tell during that time?
It's very difficult for me to answer that.
Yeah.
But I would imagine it would be the story to help people become better people. If we take an example of some mythological story or any sort of good versus evil, those are the main stories that are told in all over the world. And then also being conscious of what you can do as society, as a member of the society, to make your world a better place.
Right.
I saw a very moving piece recently by a friend of mine, and she told the story of the struggle of a woman. Very simple concept, but how do you break it down? And that is her journey. And so if I was to be a part of that kind of societal movement, how would I take it and present it so that it's still entertaining but subtle enough for people to get the message?
Right. I think on some level, as humans, I think it's our responsibility. I don't know whose exactly, but in terms of respecting culture. And so if I were a newcomer to come see your show, I wouldn't necessarily know the background of that, right?
Exactly.
So, and I think people don't often know that there's in fact a story being told.
Yes.
Right, and so I'm wondering how, there's that challenge, that cultural challenge, and how we can link that together.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel I have a little bit of an advantage growing up in Canada, but being very strongly rooted in my Indian culture.
Right.
So I can see bridging the two together. I mean, I've done it my whole life.
Right.
I myself am a bridge.
Yes.
So, and for the audience, I don't know if it's important for them to know all the history.
Yes.
For them to enjoy the dance form.
Right.
When they see how I dance and I collaborate with my husband Cassius on the tabla, which is the drums that he plays.
Yes.
That connection we have, the connection with the live musicians, that spontaneity, the spark. Those are the things. I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
Those are the things that keep us alive, with spontaneity. Like, you make a plan with your friend. Hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. Let's go for coffee. Well, that was fun. And that's those little moments in life. That's kind of rudimentally, I said it in that way, but that's sort of what we do on stage, is we have fun through music, through movement. And the story that we tell, whether it's the story of the goddess of music, or it's the story of two friends becoming better friends, or whether it's a story of an old story of a young girl going to fill water at the river, and a bird comes, for example. Simple stories like that. It's also a telling of the times, the history of Kathak, the history of India, of music, of rhythm, and then trying to keep it present. It's a challenge.
When you are there in India, do you perform there? And if so, does it feel differently for you?
I have not yet performed in India itself. It's one of my goals to do that. But my husband has performed in India, and I know it's a very different scene because they have been seeing it. They've lived with it.
Yes.
But I think the advantage that we have is, because we're in Canada and we're still upkeeping this traditional way of presentation, this traditional dance and music form, that I think is very amazing for a lot of people in India. They don't see it happening outside of their country as much.
Since we're, part of this, program is about the importance of movement, what could you say someone could take away from learning this style?
Oh my goodness. So there's not one thing.
There's plenty.
There's plenty. Awesome. I mean, we were talking earlier about how the dance form itself is based on yoga and its principles. And the dance form was made to help the dancer attain a sort of consciousness above the regular level in a way. Okay. So it's a meditative form. So the posture, the confidence you have, I use this every day, is the confidence that you have when you walk into a room. That Kathak has taught me. Kathak has taught me to do public speaking. Kathak has helped me to know when my wrists and my muscles are achy. What can I do to stretch them out and not? Because every movement, if my neck is going up and down, that's something that we see neck exercises, but when I'm dancing, it's happening.
All right.
And so as a health form, it's really nice to have, as well as being conscious of what you're doing and where you're going. Where is my hand? I know exactly where it is, and I can do sudden or soft movements. So control of your body, of your posture, of your voice, because we recite everything. I find it's a very complete form for confidence, for health, for mindfulness, for feeling empowered, like the show is all about.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tell me how you come to sort of collaboration or agreement when you dance with live musicians.
Okay. No, my husband's not here.
Okay, that's okay. He was here last month. Yeah.
So it's a very, how can I start this? We have a piece in mind, we have a time limit in mind, and then we say, okay, what do we want to represent? What would people like to see? And then we build off of that. Rhythmically, I have some compositions that I do, and then we incorporate that into the piece. My husband sings as well, so if we want a melodic piece, then we choose a song that would be appropriate or pleasant, and it just kind of comes together. And the beauty of it is, I've been doing this with my musician, like with Cassius, my husband, and then accompanying musicians have been changing depending on geographic location and availability as well. But it's different with every time you perform it.
Okay. You run the show.
I'm sorry, I do run the show. I do run the show, so I'm dancing in the front, in the center, and the musicians are sitting on the side. So when I need to communicate with them, I have to look to the side, of course, right? So if I'm looking to the side, then my husband, he's the main, like the percussionist is the main collaborator in that sense, because he's playing, or he or she would be playing along with the rhythms that I'm doing with my feet, or movement. So if I turn and look at him, sometimes in the beginning he was like, oh, did I play something wrong? I'm sorry, I didn't play anything wrong. And I was like, no, that was great. So to reassure them that they're okay, I'm just looking for, feedback, encouragement. It's communication is so key.
I know that you, it seems like you're very conscious of the responsibility of this traditional dance that's been happening from generation to generation.
Yeah.
And you have, both you and Cassius Khan, have celebrated that by starting a festival, an annual festival that's happening on September 30th, later
right.
this year.
That's right.
And it's an annual festival.
It's an annual festival. We've completed 5 years, and this would be our 6th year. And the reason why we wanted to start it is because, like you said, it is a responsibility, to promote it. And we find joy and happiness from it, and we want to share that joy and happiness with others, regardless of background, regardless of language. Music and movement is no language. But we feel that Indian classical music and dance has something to offer for the general public. So we've invited several different musicians, different styles of music and dance as well, to portray their work. And we kind of bind it together in our festival. And this is our 6th year, and on September 30th, more information is available at our website. The website is MB Festival, and MB stands for Mushtari Begum Festival. And she was an inspirational a teacher for my husband, Cassius Khan, and it's an honor of her because she's the one who encouraged him, and I learned about her through him. And we just want to honor our teacher, as well as bring a platform for Indian classical musicians to come together, collaborate, and share the joy that we have with our music to others.
Well, I think it sounds like you've been left, both of you have been left with this responsibility, but like you said, joy.
Yes.
And also I think there's a lot to be said about, educating us.
Yes.
And union, keeping us union and making our lives more richer, more beautiful, and learning about different cultures and having respect for that.
Right.
And through the festival, I hope to attend this year.
Yes, you will.
And I just want to thank you for doing the work that's required for yourselves, to empower yourselves and to enlighten your audience and those around you. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I hope we can continue this and spread the message.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciated your time and all the things that you've shared.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So thanks again for joining me on Empowered. We'll see you next time. Take good care of yourselves.